If I can see it, I speak it, and therefore I create it. No, not a repeat from yesterday. But that message does go along with what I was going to talk about today. And I got to thinking about this actually after yesterday's video that what is it? What is it? What am I seeing? And what am I ultimately wanting to create? Well, it's my goal, right? I'm trying to see what my goal is. What do I want to be as a person? What do I want to win? What do I want to buy? What do I want to achieve? And then the creation is actually achieving your goal. And I was thinking about this after yesterday. Like if you don't have a clear vision of what your goal is, then you really have a hard time speaking it. You don't know. The only thing you can say is I'm not really sure. I don't know what my goal is. Well, that leads to zero creation. You're not going to progress through that, right? There's no action after that. So what is it? It is your goal, but you have to be able to see your goal. And so I'm going to challenge you today. I'm actually going to ask you two questions here today. But the first one is I really, really want to hear from you guys, because my thing was, and I was having a conversation with Mr. Tony today in the kitchen, and it was interesting because we both came to the same, we had the similar stories, and that was, after high school and so much football and all that stuff and things that happened around football, he and I both said the same thing. We said, I was just done with football after that. But for me, and I can't speak for Mr. Tony, but for me, I had to. I had to keep playing football. Otherwise, I wasn't going to college, and I wasn't going to have a roof over my head. I wasn't going to have a place to live. That was my plan to break out of homelessness. So it wasn't necessarily my goal, but it was something I needed to do. My goal was not even clear to me at that point. My only goal was to not be homeless anymore. That was it. But I didn't know what that looked like, and I didn't know what college was. It wasn't clear to me. So I really couldn't tell anybody when they said, what are you up to in the fall? Where are you going? What are you going to be doing? I don't know, playing football. And it was said without passion, and I really didn't know what that even was going to mean when I got to CMU where I went. So it wasn't, there was no drive and no passion, and ultimately, I only put in 2 years in that goal because it just really wasn't my goal, but it was a necessity. So my goal, though, ultimately became wanting to help kids and wanting to help families. And that, as that became more clear, I started to be able to say, that's what I want to do with my life. I want to help people. I want to help kids. I want to make sure that kids don't go through the same thing I did. It started to make sense to me. So I could start talking it. I could start telling people what I wanted to do, and then they were able to help me get to that point where I created and I got to that goal. So that's what I want you guys. I bet if I came and asked you right now what your goal is, if you're in the back, your goal is to get out of here. Okay, I get it. That's a very common goal, but what ultimately is your goal? Oh, I don't want to come back here. Yeah, of course. I want to get off probation. Of course. But let's get out of this zone that I talked about yesterday, that immediate zone, and let's start thinking about what does our life look like. I was talking with one of you this morning at breakfast, and I asked, ultimately, what do you want to do for a career? And they said they want to go to culinary school, and I got chills, or goosebumps all over the place, because I thought that was just awesome. Awesome to hear. This is my goal, and I envisioned, you know who you are, I envisioned you someday being in culinary school and being happy with that and being proud of the work that you put in to get to that place, but you're already speaking it. So you're seeing it and you're speaking it. Last thing to do is go get it. So that's cool. You're in the process and you're watching that unfold. So for the rest of you, I want you to start thinking, it doesn't have to be career. What do you want out of this life? What is your goal? What is one of your goals? Because you can have a million goals, right? What is one of your goals? Please don't just put a blanket term on it. I want to be a better person. How? How do you want to be a better person? What does that mean? What do you want to improve upon? Be specific with your goals. Understand yourself. Really ask yourself a hard question. What is it? What am I going for? What am I working for? Why am I going through these struggles? What am I here to learn? What is my purpose? And if you start to really think about it and put yourself in those positions and envision yourself in those positions, there's a lot of power in that. I didn't have that when I was your age. I didn't have that. I didn't know, and it was a very empty feeling, and I was confused and frustrated. Not all of you are going to know that you want to go and this is the career I want and these are the things I want to do for the rest of my life. That's okay. You're not supposed to right now. Shoot, I'm a grown man, and I only recently found out what I wanted to do when I grow up. This is where it's at. I'm very, very happy doing what I'm doing. It's fine. My goal has changed several times over my career, and yours probably will too, and that's okay, because that's growth and that's development as a human being. But if you got to know, you really do, that you have to understand in your own vision, in your head, what am I working toward? Because otherwise you're just kind of spinning those wheels, and you're spending a lot of energy, especially emotional energy, maybe money, maybe time, and you're really not going in any direction. If you're not sure, if you don't really know, and you're not capable of setting a goal, and that's making you feel bad, don't stress about that. It's tough. It's tough when you have a lot of other things on your mind. It's tough when you haven't had experiences that really give you ideas of what your goals could be, things that are out there that are offered to you. For me, my first job coming out of CMU was I was a child protective services investigator and a foster care worker and a juvenile justice worker. And I didn't know what that was when I was a kid, if you can believe that or not. I had never heard of somebody whose job it was to make sure kids are safe and all of that. Some of you may have had bad experiences with CPS or foster care, and I get that. I do, but there are good people out there. I was one of them. I know a lot of them. I've known a lot of them. It's definitely a noble job, but I didn't know that was a thing. And so, for me, I want to help kids and families. Well, how do you want to help kids and families? I don't know, because I didn't know that position existed. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that what I'm doing now is a thing. My world wasn't there yet. That's okay. If you have a general idea and that's your goal is, I want to help people. Okay, cool. Are there certain ways you want to help people? Like, in what ways? Do you want to be their auto mechanic? Do you want to build a deck for them? Do you want to be their teacher, their counselor? There's all kinds of things. So that's my challenge to you, number one. Number two, I forgot. Oh, okay, yeah, my second one. I met with a new friend yesterday who is like he just talks my language, and he has a really cool story behind him. And one of the things that I kept hearing from him and just talking with him and hearing his story and his challenges that he's overcome, including a heroin addiction and different things like that, and a lot of traumas in his life, it became very clear to me that he quote unquote gets it. And what do I mean by gets it? You guys know what I mean, because you've come across and you've talked to people that you go, dude, you have no idea what I'm talking about, because you couldn't begin to understand what I've been through. But there are other people that you talk to and you go, I think you get it. Why? Maybe that person that you're talking to has lived a similar experience, or their reactions are, they make you feel justified and you trust them and all those things. But my second challenge to you guys, and hopefully Miss Jolene can give you a piece of paper, Miss Wendy as well, give you a piece of paper to write these things down. Number one and number two. Number one is your goals. What is it? What am I trying to see, speak, and create? Number two is, if you can write down one or two words about those people that you've come across in your lifetime that would describe them. Why them? Why do you trust them? What makes them different than just another caseworker or another, PO or whatever? What makes that person different? Are they trustworthy? Were they non-judgmental? Were they, did they have a similar experience that they could understand? Could you write those things down for me? I'm very curious, because yesterday I was talking to my new friend here, and man, I felt he gets it. And there were a few words that I would use to describe him. He was genuine, he was sincere, and he was just in tune with some of the things that we've all been through, and I felt that from him. And so I'm curious to hear you guys' experiences too. What makes those people in your life different? If you haven't had those people yet, they're out there. Keep the faith, because you're going to run into them. So 2 challenges, teachers, staff, whoever. If you'd give everybody a piece of paper, I'd be more than happy to come around and collect those today, because I'm very, very curious. Appreciate it, guys. Let's keep breaking cycles. That's what we do. Cycle breakers.